Ojiako, and I am the Director for Programs for SaffronSACAP. Good evening, and today I have with me my colleagues. Marcia, would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us again, our Saffron family. My name is Marcia Eliza, and I'm the Director for Children Engagement and Intervention.
Thank you, Marcia. Lovely to have you on again this week. And we also have Taiwo. Taiwo's in the house. Taiwo, are you there? I know you seem like you're in a car or in a space.
I'm in the car.
Okay.
I'm out. I'm in the
That's
car.
okay.
So I'm only saying
yourself
hello.
briefly.
I will be vanishing in 2 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, Tara. Tara is our technical director. I'm going to just introduce him for him because of where he is. So thank you, Tyrell, and hope you'll come back shortly. And also we have Yemi. Yemi, would you like to unmute our CEO? No, a wave isn't going to do.
No? Okay.
No.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, hello, everyone. Good evening. Wow, it looks like we have a lot of people on tonight. It's really lovely to have you on. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see so many people unmask themselves tonight as well. Wow, I'm impressed. I just hope that you have a wonderful time on the program. I hope we learn from you just as much as we want you to learn from us. It's a joint venture. And also welcome everyone on Facebook. As you know, I will be interacting with you. And please leave your questions. I shall be forwarding it on to Giz. Giz, our able and fantastic moderator and director for programs. Have a lovely time, everybody.
Thank you, boss. That was amazing. And in our usual fashion, we want to welcome everybody who has come on today for the first time. If this is your first time with SaffronSACAP, we want to say thank you so much for taking out the time in this evening to come on. So you are welcome. I can see so many new faces. It's lovely. Raluka, hello, my lovely. How are you? Auntie Vicky, good evening. Hello, Sandra. Buki 10 times 10. Hello, Buki. Roland, thanks for joining as always. Nikita, thank you so much for coming on. And I think that's Uche, maybe not. I think, yes, Uchenna Emeronye, good evening. Thank you. We have two special people who I have not called for a particular reason. Today, we are going to launch the first week of our Financial February. Financial February, and the topic today is recovery post-COVID pandemic. And we have, as always, in as much as, yes, we as an organization, we do a lot of research, but in no way are we experts in everything. And this is why we actually, we call on experts in various fields to come on so that our audience, we can make sure that we are giving you the right information, factual information and not speculative information that can help you within the community, which is what we are here to do. So without much ado, I want to introduce our first guest, and that is Primrose Kwesi. Good evening, Primrose, and welcome to SaffronSACAP for the first time. Primrose is a personal and business insurance specialist. So Primrose, if you would like to unmute and just I've introduced you, but if you'd just like to say a few words before I introduce our second guest, please.
Thank you so much, Giz.
That's okay.
And hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for hosting me.
You're so welcome. We are honored to have you on the show, and I'm very sure we've got my brain is just waiting, to be loaded. So yeah, thank you so much, Primrose. And alongside Primrose, we also have Mr. Samuel Lay. And Samuel is a financial coach. And I'm sure I spoke to him before we came online, and I could feel the passion, and he's ready to blow our minds with a lot of nuggets. So you are so welcome, Samuel. Thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So without much ado, guys, we all know where we are at the moment. we're still under the umbrella of this pandemic. And we've just come out of, obviously, 2020. We've just done Christmas. We've had one of the longest months, January. Gosh, shouldn't that go on for like ever? And, you know, we as an organization thought it was an amazing time to look at finances. You know, some of us, it's as an organization, we sat down and we said we wanted our community to start feeling comfortable about speaking about our finances, to start thinking about how our finances should be, where they should go, what is out there, what do we know, what don't we know, what we know, what are we doing with it, you know, what we have, are we using it effectively, are we using it to the best of our abilities, you know. So February, we've tagged this financial February. We've got 4 weeks of the voice over talk show where we will be focusing solely on finances. It's going to be a whole lot. So today's, we'll be talking of streams of income, but we will not just streamline it. It will be anything. So those of you on Facebook, those of you who are on the Zoom, any questions you may have, you have two of the possibly best financial gurus in the house. My advice, use them while they're here, because when they're gone, when you sit in front of their office, when you sit in front of their desks, it's a ka-ching moment. Tonight, it isn't. So use them as much as you can. And please, please spread the word, because we are a village and what we like to do is to take care of each other. So if you know anybody that can gain from any of the nuggets you are going to receive tonight, please tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. Okay, so without much ado, I think I'm going to ask Sam to start. And the reason I'm going to ask Sam to start is because I know you said something about your timing and everything. So
it's not Sam, it's Primrose, darling.
Oh, is it? Sorry. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Sorry, it is. I know there was one of you that had a time. Yeah, it is Primrose. I beg your pardon. Do forgive me, Sam. Yes, Primrose. If you would like to unmute and start for us, please, that would be amazing.
Thank you, lady. Thank you once again. My name is Primrose Kwesi. I am a personal and business insurance specialist. What that means is I help families to protect against things like protect their income, protect against their lives, against their health, and then also I help businesses, small businesses, to protect. We know we have so many businesses within African communities that have no protection at all. So today I'm here. If you have any questions about business protection in terms of insurance, please feel free to ask me. I know insurance is one area that most people don't feel like kind of comfortable discussing, especially when it comes to personal insurances. When you ask somebody about their insurances, they'll feel like, I won't say offended, but they have a different perception about, you know, protection. When you tell someone, you know, about death, for example, death is something that is going to happen to all of us. As a matter of fact, everyone is going to die. So we have got to plan for it. We've got to plan for the ones we leave behind. So it's inevitable. We have to talk about it. So yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And I'll just delve into the topic for tonight about multiple income, right? So I know, we all know that with the pandemic, we've all gone through a very rough situation. It hasn't been easy for everyone. Almost everyone has lost a loved one, a friend, a person they know. We're in a period where we're living under the circumstances we have never, ever dreamed about, of being locked down. The whole world is locked. There was a time I come from Uganda, by the way, but there was a time we could not even go home. The airports were locked. So we are trying to learn how to live with this. But again, on the other hand, life can't stop. Life has got to go on. You know, it won't stop. We still have to go on. We still have to live. We have our kids looking at us, up to us and asking what is wrong? What is this period all about, mom? How come we cannot even see family? So it's kind of mentally distressful. So people have lost jobs. So many people are not working. Businesses are closed. So how do we kind of then adjust to such a situation? And this is what we are looking at today. So as I was going through my kind of like looking at what to talk about today through streams of income, I picked out quite a few things that living on a salary in this day, especially now, is going to be a very difficult thing. You will realize that by the time the salary comes, well, if you have it anyway, by the time it comes, you've already used it. It's, been blown away in bills and everything. So what we're saying, how effectively can we then balance, our finances? How can we balance our income? It's crucial. It's a crucial time where we have to, get into a system of building savings and not depending on salary as opposed to the past. And you will agree with me that 50% now, that's research by the banks, that 50% of millennials now are relying on a side hustle. That's for sure. Everybody has got to get something to do. I always tell my clients or my friends, my colleagues, that every situation has got an advantage. Every bad situation, there will be an advantage. Before the lockdowns, people were reluctant to even learn how to bake. I was one of them. I had to celebrate my child's birthday in April. I said to him, listen, today we're gonna bake your cake. You're gonna have a home-baked cake. So many things have been, we have to put in place so many things, like we have to practice skills. There's so much to learn. What can you do? Because we're not going to sit and look at the kids while there's no income coming in. How are we going to be able to provide for them anyway? So what we need to think fast to make sure that we do not depend on the income. We do not depend on the salaries, which are already so frustrating anyway. So some tips I put down about creating streams of income. There are several, but it depends on how much time you got on your hands. Where do you want to spend your time? Are you ready to learn a new skill that will probably bring in extra? Do you understand? And when we talk about streams of income, we are focusing on savings as well, because we want extra money to be able to put in a, what do they call that? Emergency fund. You got to have an emergency fund where you keep a penny. When you get your income, you got to get 10% off it. Sorry, when you get your salary, take 10% off for your emergency fund. We are living in an era where we cannot even run to a friend, to a sister for money, to borrow money. They will not have it. And you will be greatly disappointed. So we cannot wait for that. We need to wake up. We need to create, sources of income. So I'll start with the first one. So we need to actually fully utilize everything. So there's different ways. If you cannot do a skill, there's something you can put down your time and resources into something else. If you have some money, you can decide to save 20% of your salary. If you don't have a salary, find something, a freelance, something freelance to do. You can decide to probably is it child minding, whereby you don't need a skill to pick neighbors' kids to look after them, to take them to school. You don't need a skill. Get something part-time, any part-time job. You can work, you can have a 4-hour, your normal 4-hour or 6-hour or 10 hours, then add on to that something that, you're comfortable doing. It's not going to be comfortable actually, but it's giving your all. Like, success is not going to come from a comfort zone. We've always got to press on. We just have to press on. Yeah. So we got also, like, you can do things like blogging, for people who do affiliate marketing. This is for people who have some sort of, before this, I was reluctant opening up certain sites. you know, it's only recent after, I think this year, that I opened up my Instagram. But I didn't have Instagram, and I thought I didn't want it. But now we have seen that most business has now has become digital. So what are you doing to benefit from the online business, you know, like online services? What are you doing? What can you do that can bring you extra income? Write a book and sell it online. Sell it on Amazon. Some people are so skilled. You can sell something for something. You can buy something wholesale, open up a website and sell it. That is an extra income using your website to sell. Open up a YouTube channel, or people who are smart with, you know, who have skill in that as well, who are good at talking, who are good at, you know, presenting different topics. Open up a YouTube. That is another source of income, which has worked up for so many people. We can talk about investing in real estate, investing in property if you have the money. If you have putting your money in the bank and, you know, just keeping it there, please take it out and use it somewhere to make more money. Money makes money. That's the language we speak in the financial sector. Money has got to make money. If you want to look at your money in this era, you're missing out on so much. Investing things like purchasing high dividend stock, that is like invest in stock markets. You can do that. You can also look at, you know, I talked about online selling, real estate. Pay off your credit cards, people. That is another expense. You know how much money we are losing in credit cards? You will be amazed. Pay off your credit cards, pay off your debts, because the interests that we are being charged are so high. And when you look at it, it looks like you imagine someone takes credit of £200 and takes like 5 years to pay that off, because every time they kind of try to clear it, then they go back and use it. You imagine 5 years, how much money have they lost to the bank, to whoever? So avoid credit cards if you can. Create emergency funds. I will stress on that because these days we cannot run to anyone. Emergency fund is the money you cannot touch. That is the money to bail you out of a situation when you need finances. You need that, right? Become a referral source. With my business, I work on referral basis, and that's how I create my network. Insurance, I'm a self-employed under an umbrella of a brokerage firm called Unisure, but I'm self-employed in actual sense because I have got to find my network. And how do I do that? I go out and give the service to the community and say, look, this is real. It's a service that you need. So when someone finds it of benefit, then I ask them, who are those immediate people that you think this will benefit as well? So that way I'm creating a network, and that person will give me the 5 closest people, the first 5 people you think you would be responsible for if any risk happened to them, right? So you can be a source of referral, and I pay them. I give them some money, some small money to say thank you, because I have a referral scheme, and I've set aside that money to pay that person who has referred me to somebody, because the service is essential. It's a need. Insurance is a need. So I've got to say thank you for your hard work, because you've spoken on, you've warmed up that person, and now I have to offer them service, and I will save their families, and I will save them money. The other way I save them money is because so many people have been missold insurance. People do not even know the terms. People do not even know the conditions that they have been contracted with. Do you understand? So when someone says to me, I have insurance, I'll say, I need to review what you have to make sense of it. Because otherwise, you'll be happy you have insurance. But when I ask you, who did you take it out with? Who do you have your insurance with? And what are the benefits? What are the terms? They don't even know. So I help you understand to make sure you have adequate cover, right? With that, I think there are so many streams of income you can come up with. I don't want to eat so much time.
That's fine. No,
But you can ask me anything you want to ask me.
okay.
And yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Primrose. I mean, you've given us so much to, to ponder over. And honestly, some of the things you shared there are very real. I think for me, one of the major ones that, got me was the emergency funds. How many people actually have emergency funds sitting there? And when you don't have those emergency funds, you become a magnet for the banks, and then you go to get loans, and then you get into more debt. So that is a very important aspect of our finances. I believe we need to look at. Yemi, I think you've got your hand up.
Oh yes, sorry. I really wanted to find out. Thank you so much, Primrose. Do you know what? You've given us so many things. I can count about 3 things or 4 that even I want to address or investigate. One thing I want to ask everyone on tonight is, I don't know, please try and just show your hand up. How many people have more than one stream of income? Okay, that's my hand. How many? Guys, please count for me. How many do we have?
Right,
Please
we've
be
got
honest. We're not going to come and the tax man is not going to come after you.
6. Somebody there, 7. Bookies,
Okay.
I think we're about 8 of us.
Wow. Okay. Okay. More than 2 streams of income. Have 8 stream down.
More than
How many
2.
people?
We are now. How many of us? 1, 2, 1, 2, 6 of us. I
Okay.
think 7 of us. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go to 3 because we have to have between 3 and 7 to break even, be able to pay our insurances, be able to pay so much. So 3. Do I have 3? Yeah.
Yeah, about 5 of us now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bookie, I'm looking at you twice. Sorry. 1, 2, 3.
Anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, that's it. About 6, 7 of us. Yeah.
And I think that's a good average because there are 17 of us. So we started with a good average on there. And over the last few weeks, we have looked at so many streams, what people can do conveniently at home. There's so much you can do from just behind your laptop. A lot of work these days are, what's that word that they use now, that when you work from home?
Yes, WFH.
Sorry?
Well, they abbreviate when it's abbreviated WFH.
Okay, see, I don't know. I know you know, so you would tell me. But yes, it is that you really have to have about 3 streams of income, and there's so much you can do at home. There's everyone. If you go on websites, job sites now, just put in working from home. There is a phrase. There is another phrase. But it basically means that you're working from home, and there are part-time jobs, there are data entry jobs which you can do in your own time at your own pace. And I think that if you can pick up 1 or 2 of those, it will help. There's sales. I know that because Giz and I we'll probably let you in on it as the month goes by. But yes, we have dabbled, and you really don't need a lot of money. You just need to have a bit more time and get ready to read, get ready to do a few webinars. I get Giz to do the webinars because I don't do them. But yes, get ready to try and surf the internet a lot more. And it doesn't mean that in the first week, in the first month, you're going to make thousands. It just means that you're putting yourself out there to start to make a difference. But if you don't try, you don't get. If you don't ask, you don't get. So we've got to try. We've got to keep trying. So that's my preaching over. Primrose, you prompted this, so there you go.
Thank you, Yemi. Thank you so much. But yes, I second that. I do push for more than 3, really, but start somewhere. Minimum of 3, but just keep going, because 1 will pay the mortgage, 1 will sort the kids out, 1 will do the shopping, 1 will do the clothes, one will do the shoes and the bags if you're anything like me. So, you know, you need lots of streams. I'm going to go over to you, Sam, now, but Primrose, I see you have your hand up.
Primrose, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, unmute yourself. That's it.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say this before I leave, that I'll talk about in line of what I do, the insurance part of it. That did you know, guys, that even insurance is a discipline of saving? Because what insurance does, it gives you the money that you might not readily have at the time of a risk. Do you understand that? We've seen how communities struggle with finances when families have lost loved ones. Who do collections, who do GoFundMe pages, but in this day and era, seriously, everybody needs to spare at £20 to pay for the insurance to save for a benefit of like 100,000.
Yeah.
Because regardless of the term you have, you still know at least that is guaranteed. It's a guaranteed payout. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Primrose.
Can I say something else, Giz? Do you know, when you mentioned there were two things I just want to hit on. Sorry, Giz. I've found my voice today. Basically, there is something when you talked about people having insurance for when they lose loved ones, or to plan for when they actually leave the stage. And our community, our religion, and all of that, you mentioned death, and it's God forbid, God forbid, but it will eventually happen. So it's what are the plans that you have in place? We always nobody preaches, death, and all of that, but you really need to start looking at the plans that we have in place. I know Primrose is back next week, hopefully, and if you just wanted to slide us into the discussion, and we'll have that discussion again next week. Also, you did mention about child minding, but with my safeguarding hat on, I have to I have to talk about that. Is that if you do some child minding, you can and you must need to look at training, because there are regulations around child minding and babysitting. Have a look on the internet. Have a look. There are a lot of online trainings going on at the moment,
That's true.
and I think as low as £10. I probably do one every 2 weeks these days, just to add a feather to the cap. So
just one.
Go ahead, Primrose.
Just one. Yemi hinted of, when I talk about life insurance, I'm not talking about only life or the protection that covers you on death.
Sure.
There are other things. Most of our community know only one product, the life insurance. Today I'll just hint on income protection, which for me, I feel like is very crucial. Protect your income. Most of us here are self-employed. So if you were down, income protection works in a way that it pays 60% of your monthly earning. And the way it works, if you're down, you're ill, you had an accident, you had an injury, you're unable to go into work, you have 8 weeks in bed, who's going to pay for your outgoings? Nobody. So protect your income. There are so many other insurances, but yeah, next time when I come.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Primrose.
Thank you, Keith.
Now we are going to ask Samuel, please, if you'd like to unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. Samuel is also a financial coach. Thank you, Samuel. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Can I make him co-host, please?
Please, thank you.
Yes. Yemi, over to you.
So while that's going on, I'll just introduce myself. It's really a pleasure to be here. I am very, very passionate about what I talk about. A bit of my story, because I think it's not right for me to start talking without knowing where I've come from. So I was born here in the UK, but I grew up in Nigeria. I went there for my primary, secondary, university, came back to the UK in 1993, basically to come and study. But then I started working and I was doing about 20 hours a day, doing all sorts of jobs. And what happened then was the bank started offering me money, credit cards, loans, Argos card. And I took everything going because I did not understand anything about money. Okay, I took everything. And then I read a book in 2009 called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Has anybody read that book? Let me just see a show of hands. A few people, fantastic. That book changed my life completely. And you know how when you want something so bad and the universe rewards you? 2009, I read that book. 2010, I met my mentor who actually passed away a year ago in April. And he completely changed my life because from 2009, I was looking for something and exactly what I was looking for came into my life. And one of the first things John told me, he said, it doesn't matter where you've come from, it's where you're going that counts. Because the debts and the issues I had with money was just choking me and I hated it. So for me to be able to stand in front of you now, I've been on this journey for the last 10 years. I am completely debt-free. I became debt-free in 2015. Well, nearly debt-free in 2015, which then meant I could reduce my hours at my job. I used to be in the Civil Service Department of Health. I used to do parliamentary questions. So although I live in Leeds, I used to be in London almost every week in the House of Parliament. I used to work with the Minister for Health. And I did that. I was with the civil service for 18 years, but I reduced my hours to 3 days in 2015. And then 2016, I was able to hand in my notice and leave the plantation. And so I've been working for myself, building my own business since 2016. So I am a financial coach, but I'm also a mental health first aid trainer. But that's something else completely. I go into companies and I train their staff to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health. But we're not talking about that today. We're here to talk about money. So let me share my screen. That's a bit about myself. Personal, I've got a lovely wife. I've got 3 children and I've got a grandson. I've got my daughter's 28 years old and she's got a boy who's 2 years old. She got married 4 years ago. And so I've got a grandson. He's like mini me. If you see my baby pictures and you see his baby pictures, he's exactly like me. So, but I'm not a grandpa. I don't claim grandpa. I say I'm a glampa because I'm too glamorous to be a grandpa. So
Okay.
that's me. So yeah, I've got 2 boys. My boys are 14. Well, Seth is going to be 14 tomorrow, actually, and his brother is 16. So that's me on a personal level. So we're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about financial well-being. I like to interact with people. So I'm going to need you all to know how to use the chat box because I'm going to be asking you questions. Feel free to put some information in there. I've got a lot to say. Like I said, I'm very passionate about what I say. So I'm going to try and cut it into little bits because I thought this was a one-off show. I didn't realize it was for all of February. So the first thing I'm going to talk about really is looking at what the problem is today. Okay, every 15 minutes, a property is repossessed. 1,000 people on a daily basis losing their jobs. 1,700. It's probably more than that now. On the top right, it says most people have little or no savings. Actually, 1/3 of people are 1 paycheck away from bankruptcy. Why is that? Money, we don't talk about money. That is part of the problems we have today. Something else to think about is this. This is the UK economy. That is the government on the right-hand side. Your left, well, my left as well. They're sleeping on the job. The banks, they're taking money out of your pocket. Guess who's holding up the economy? Yeah, you. You're the one holding up the economy. Now, if you're holding up the economy, who is responsible for your personal economy? You are. I always say to people, wherever you are right now is your fault. And only you can get yourself out of it. Now, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and he wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he says, the main reason people struggle financially is because they spent years in school, but learn nothing about money. The result is that people learn to work for money, but never learn to have money working for them. For me, that is a powerful statement because we all go to school, we learn Pythagoras theorem. We'll learn how to, I caught up a frog in biology. I don't know about anybody else, but when it comes to money that we spend every single day, nobody tells us about money. So what generally happens is we find out by, like myself, thousands of pounds in debt, not knowing how I was going to pay it off. My wife and I, we had 3 jobs between us, and we were still struggling because we just didn't have a clue. And something I say to people is this: if you're going to use a hammer, or if you're going to drive, you need to learn how to drive. It's the same thing with money. If you want to win in the money game, guess what? You need to learn how to play the game. Okay, so we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. The first thing I like to talk to people about is your goals. Do you have goals? How many of you have goals? Can I just see some indication in the chat box? Anybody with goals? If you just put on there, what goals do you have? Anybody, just write a few things in there, or just put one if you have goals. Like I said, I like interaction. I like to know that people are there because I can't see anybody right now. So for me, I need to know that people are there. So how many of you have goals? Okay, financial freedom, to be financially okay by 55, fantastic. Now, whatever your goals are, it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a holiday. Doing what you're doing now, are your goals realistic? A lot of people I sit down and I talk to, the first thing when I sit down with a client, the first thing I ask them is, do you have goals? Well done, Marcia, holiday. What are your goals? A lot of people do not have goals, okay? Or they have goals, but they're like they're goals they don't think is ever gonna happen. Now, when you look at that, and I said, is it realistic? For me, the first step to understanding money, the first step to becoming financially independent is what we call a CCMP, more properties. Thank you very much for sharing your goals. I love that. Continue to interact. The first step to becoming debt-free and financially independent is what we call a CCMP. And a CCMP is a clear, concise mental picture. Now, you all have goals, which is great. The CCMP is the next step from a goal. And what the CCMP basically means is that if you look at that camera there, it's one of those ones that you can focus on your goals. So have you engaged your 5 senses, your touch, your smell, your sight in those goals? Is it written down? I remember when I came on board with, when I started on this journey in 2010, my coach asked me what were my goals. And I had 3. He said, okay, write them down, cut out pictures. And I did this with my boys and my wife. We cut out pictures, we put it on a whiteboard, and we stuck it up on my wall. It's still there 10 years later, okay? When I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I see. When I go to bed at night, it's the last thing I see. And I had 3 goals. The first goal was to be completely debt-free, which I did, I thank God, in 2016. My second goal was to be my own boss. I was able to leave my job August 2016. And my final goal was to send my children to a private school. My eldest son started September 2016 at the grammar school at Leeds, and his younger brother started after him 2 years later. Joel is in year 11 now, Seth is in year 9. And they go to the best school in Yorkshire. Those were the goals I set, but I just didn't set goals. At the time, they were almost impossible. But one of the things we did, my wife and I, we went to the grammar school and we took their brochure. We cut out our boy's picture and we stuck it on the front of the brochure, on the head of the person that was on there. And we had it in the kitchen. So every time we walked past it, we saw that brochure all the time. So when you think about your goals, is it written down? Have you got pictures up on the wall? If you want a new car, have you gone to the showroom and test driven the car? Have you smelt the leather? Do you know how much it's going to cost? Do you know what you need to do now? And that brings me to the next thing, really, which is your strategy. Now that you have your goal, how are you going to achieve it? What strategy have you put in place to buy that house? What strategy have you put in place to go on that holiday that you want to go to? Do you know how much it's going to cost? Do you know what you need to do every single month to achieve it? Have you got a date? So one of the things you need to do with your goal is to have SMART goals. It's got to be specific, it's got to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Now, if I ask you, how many of you have SMART goals? If you have, please write it there, and it's written down and you read it every day. So if you look on my phone, I've got a diary event every single day. At 6 o'clock in the morning, my alarm goes off and I read my goals. At 10 o'clock at night, my alarm goes off and I read my goals. If you want to achieve debt freedom and financial independence, you need to make your goals real. So what is your strategy to achieve that goal? And then once you've got a strategy, the next thing is the desire. Okay, now it's not just any desire, it's not just any desire. As you can see on there, it's a burning desire. I want to go to space, or I want to buy, so somebody I spoke to a few years ago, she wanted a really nice Lamborghini Countach or something like that by the end of the year. I'm like, that's great. Have you got a driver's license? She didn't have a driver's license. Okay, now for me, that is not a burning desire. You've got to have a goal that when it's snowing outside, you still get up and you're out. When it's raining, you get up and you get out. You're the first one in, the last one out. That is what you call a burning desire. So when I look at my goals, those 3 goals I initially set, nothing was going to stop me from doing them. So that is the first challenge to you, is to have a goal and a strategy, but not just any goal, it's a CCMP, a clear, concise mental picture. Now, what I like to do, like I said, I like to talk to people, I like to interact. I'm going to give you a CCMP, okay? I'm going to give you a CCMP. I'd like you to get a piece of paper. I hope you have one on you already, because you should be taking notes. If you're not, it's not too late. Get a piece of paper, get a pen and paper, and I want you to draw 3 columns. The first column, I want you to put debt. The second column, if you put earnings. And the third column, if you put savings. And what I'd like you to do is, today is the 3rd of February, 2021. I want you to write how much debt you have today. How much debt do you have this very minute? Your credit card, your store card, your loan. I'd even include your mortgage in that. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And then next column, how much are you earning today? Net, take home. How much are you earning monthly? Okay, nobody needs to see this. This is between you and your God. Okay, how much are you earning today? Include your overdrafts in that, thank you. Yes, include your overdrafts, because if you don't know this, you learn something new today. You're paying more interest on your overdrafts than you are on your credit card. That's a fact. So yeah, include your overdraft. And then how much do you have in savings today? 3rd February 2021. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you your CCMP. This is my personal challenge to you. I want you from here to move forward 12 months from now. We're looking at the 3rd of February, 2022. By God's grace, we will all get there in good health, okay? But under the word debt, I want you to write how much debt you want a year from now. 12 months from now, how much debt do you want to have? Like I said, it's your call, you're writing it down. How much would you like to be earning monthly? And then finally, how much would you like to have in savings? Remember, I said to you earlier, You are responsible for your personal economy. It's your call. You decide. Okay? So what I'd like you to do, I know what you've written down is a bit rough. Okay? What I'd like you to do after this call, get an A4 piece of paper, write it out properly, and put it up on your wall. If you can, put about 3-4 places in your cupboard when you open it. If you come to my house, you see stuff all over the place, okay? Because I'm a visual person. Write it out, put it in your cupboard, put it by your dressing mirror. Like I said to you earlier, I believe when you visualize it and you call it on yourself, it works. But don't just do that. You've also got to find a strategy to make it happen. So that's your first CCMP of today. I've got one more CCMP for you by the time we finish, okay? So just hold your heart. But is this going well so far? Can I just get some comments? I need some encouragement. So far, so good?
No, you're doing well, Sam. You keep going.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Well.
Thank you. You know, I need some encouragement as well, you see.
You do.
Now,
you do.
This is what we call the 5 steps to financial intelligence. If you want to be debt-free and financially independent, all you need is 5 steps. And I love this building here. You know, I don't know how many of you have ever built a house, but the most important the most important part of the house is the foundation. Okay, if the foundation is solid, the house will stay. It doesn't matter what the storm, whatever rain comes, the house will stay strong. So for yourself, I need you to measure yourself against these 5 steps. The first one is your foundation, and this is your risk management. The second step is your debt. How much debt do you have? Are you managing it properly? The third one is your expenses. Then your 4th floor is your asset management. And then the 5th floor is your income management. You need to build your house one layer at a time. The thing I see all the time, and I get this all the time, is people build it the wrong way around. So for example, I sit down with the family. They've got a debt of £5,000. Credit card, they're paying 24%. They've got savings of £5,000. They're getting 0.1% interest, but they have to have savings. I'm like, but you're paying 24% on the day. Get rid of it. Okay, so you need to get the steps one step at a time. So what I'm going to do today, or maybe over the next, because I was going to go through each step today. So what I might do is I'll go through the risk management today.
Yes.
And then we'll see I'm looking at debt, expenses, and the others over the next couple of weeks, okay? Brilliant. So this is what we talk about. So the first step is your foundation. Is your foundation solid? When you look at risk management, which is more valuable? Your car, your home, or your family? Now, when I sit down with people who have a mortgage, they always tell me their home is more valuable. I get that 24/7. Every time. And the next question I ask them is this: if you are the goose that laid the golden eggs, would you protect the goose or the eggs? If you have a barn and your barn is on fire and your goose is there that lays that golden eggs, which one would you grab? Would you grab the eggs or the goose? You grab the goose, people. If anybody said the egg, then hey, you've got to grab the goose because the goose lays the eggs. If you grab the egg and the goose dies, what happens? Just look at. So you've got to grab the goose. This example here, a lot of people grab the eggs. A lot of people protect the eggs. In this example, and I know, I'm sorry, you've probably never been called a goose before, but actually you're the goose in this example. Okay, you are the breadwinner. And I talk to families all the time. They're not protected, okay? And really what I'm going to talk about is people say, I don't have anything. Or, oh, the one I hear a lot is Jesus will look after me. I'm a Christian, don't get me wrong. Jesus will look after me, but you will die. The only thing that we're sure of is taxes and death. And you are going to die. Okay, so I'm going to talk about an estate. I'm going to look at some stats and, education. Now, I can talk. The reason I can talk is this. Up until 10 years ago, when I came on this journey, I did not have protection. I had 3 children and a wife. We have a home. I wasn't protected. Why? Because I just didn't have the knowledge. The knowledge is the key. We don't get taught any of these things in school. So I'm going to go through some stuff with you here. So the first thing is, what is an estate? Okay, what is an estate? And this is, these are the security. So your cash reserves, if you have any money in the bank, your assets, if you have a house, and then your income. Okay, those are your security. Those are part. Your estate is split into 2. The first one is security. The second thing is your responsibilities. And when you look at this, your partner, your children, your mortgage, your debt, your income, your financial, your other expenses, those are your responsibility. All right. So this is your asset. Now, just bear with me a minute. I'm just going to move this out of the way. If I can, good. Now, what happens is security takes care of your responsibilities, okay? You've got your securities here. They pay to look after your responsibilities, all right? Now, the next thing to look at then is who needs an instant estate, okay? Now, you've got your estate. Some of you have a house. Some of you have children. Some of you have a car. You've got all these things. Your security on the left, if you don't have enough cash reserves to pay for your responsibilities, you need an instant estate. Okay? If you pass away now, God forbid that thing, but it will happen. What will happen to your family? I'm sorry, but people say, oh, when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do. Okay, life. I used to be the chair of the Nigerian community in Leeds, and I do a lot of stuff within the African community. But there's over the years, I get messages from people that say this person's died. They're kicking them out of the house. We need to sort them out. We need to do something. So a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, a house burnt down in Leeds of some West Indian people. Okay, what happened? They canceled their insurance. So we had to all gather around and put something together for them. People who have responsibilities but no security, you need an instant estate. Okay, if you don't have money in the bank that will clear your mortgage off if anything were to happen, you need an instant estate. And basically, that's what security is here. You're buying money. So protection, life cover, serious illness cover, and income protection. Those are the kind of things you need to cover your responsibilities in case something happens. None of us want anything to happen. I pray to be here. I've already carried a grandson from one of my children. I want to carry from all 3 of them. And if possible, I want to carry great-great-grandchildren. Why not? Okay, but you do not know. All right, so it's really important that we think about these things. And if you look at the stats, 1 in 4 men aged 20 now will not live to the age of 65. 1 in 5 adults have a mortgage with no protection. I see this every single day. Every single day. I mean, look at the other stats. Critical illness. Over 55 of all critical illness claims are for cancer. 1 in 3 people will develop cancer at some time in their lives. If I was to ask for a show of hands, how many of you know somebody who's had cancer? I'm sure 90% of us will put our hands up. Okay, what provisions have you made for your responsibilities? What have you got to look after the family that you have? okay? And really, education is the key. Education. Same thing, I did not know. I'm now educated, and that's why I'm passionate about what I do. I've seen too many people pass away, too many, and we've had to hustle. We've had to shake the bucket to be able to bury them. Okay, I'm in a very great position, as in I'm African, my wife is West Indian, and so within Leeds, we're very mixed in both. And it's a shame that it's really, as Black people, we're the same. Okay, we have the same challenges. All right, so I'm going to go through some explanations of the different types, because I think people think when they hear life insurance, they think they're all the same. They're not. I'm just going to look at the chat room to see if there's any questions. All right, thank you. Okay, so there's one here, we call it accidental death benefit. This only pays out if your death is caused directly by an accident. Basically, if you get hit by a bus. Now, I see people all the time and they've got this. And I say, why have you got accidental death benefit? Oh, it was only £2.50 a week. Yeah, so it's cheap. However, it only pays out if you get knocked over by a bus or you fall off in your bathroom. It doesn't pay out anywhere else. Oh, I didn't know that. Again, lack of knowledge. Okay, and then death in service. So I used to be in the civil service. My family would have received 4 times my annual income if I'd passed away while working with them. But I left 4 years ago. So guess what? I'm no longer covered. Again, I see people, actually one of my really good friends, I told him this about 6-7 years ago. I said, you're young. I know you've got this now. However, take something as well, because you're not guaranteed to be in that job forever. He didn't. Okay, he left the job. He was now 5 years older. He developed some health issues within that time, which meant the protection I could provide for him was now almost 2-3 times the amount if he just done it 5 years ago. So because you've got death in service does not mean you do not take something for you and your crew. Okay, term life cover pays out over a period of time. This is usually the ones people will take if they've got a mortgage. So your mortgage is for 30 years. You get protection for 30 years. That's what this is. And then you've got whole of life. This pays out even if you live to the age of 200. Okay, your family is guaranteed an instant payment. Okay, those are the 4 main types that we have when it comes to protection. Now, the other things to consider is critical illness. This covers you for about 30 to 40 most severe conditions. And then you've got serious illness cover, which covers you for 182 conditions. You've got things like protected cover. Now, this protected cover, what it does is it works like if you have protected car insurance. But this one works as in, you know, they said 10 years ago, if you were diagnosed with cancer, 7 out of 10 people will pass away 10 years ago. Today, 7 out of 10 will survive. So what the protected cover does is it protects you. If you were to have cancer and you were diagnosed, you get a payout, but it tops it back up to the top. So let's say you've got £50,000 serious illness cover. You get paid out and then it tops it back up again. That's what protected is. And then you've got the same thing for children. Serious illness cover for children. You'd be surprised how many children pull off the handle from the cooker and they burn themselves. Happens in the UK every single day. All right. So those are some of the things to consider when it comes to protection. And I think this is the final slide here. This is how life works. Okay. On the left-hand side, in the early years, you're young, you've got debt, you've got mortgage. If you were to lose your income, it would be devastating. However, you don't have a lot of money, but you need a lot of coverage. So what you do is you buy money. you buy protection, okay? And the time will come whereby your protection, in the later years, you may not need protection anymore, because at this point, your children are grown, your debt is paid off, your mortgage is paid off, you now need capital, okay? You now need money. So what we say is this: buy low-cost term insurance or assurance, okay? Low cost, and then invest the difference. So if you have £30 to spend, £50 to, let's say 30, just to be on the safe side, use 20 quid for life insurance and invest the 10. There will come a time whereby they will go past each other. You do not need protection anymore, because you just don't, okay? So that's part one done on protection. So that's the risk management. I'm going to stop there. Give people a chance to ask questions.
Yes, it's I'm going to come in there, Sam. This has been amazing. And if you could possibly, we have some questions that some people have popped in the chat, which
Shall I stop sharing?
Yeah, just for now, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to figure out how to stop. No, I don't want to stop video. Just bear with me a minute.
That's okay. I can do that for you. Don't worry.
Can you?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've done that for you.
I couldn't seem to find it.
That's okay. That's fine. We've had so much information. I just want to give people a time to catch their breath, because
Okay.
I am sure that there are questions. But what I will ask is, we're not asking to know the state of your personal finances. That's not what we're doing here. What we're asking is, if you have questions based on what Sam and Primrose have shared today. There might be questions about, how you can get your mortgage, your credit rating is not wonderful. How can they help you with that? You've heard all about the different levels of insurance that are available, that are out there. Pop out some questions like that, because you have the experts on today, and the information you will be getting, I'm sure it will be real, but you need to understand that Saffron is not a licensed insurance broker or provider. So we are not responsible for any advice. Advice was not going to be given tonight. It is basic information. And if anybody needs financial advice outside of this forum, I will ask that the two guest speakers will drop their handles and their contact details in the chat, if you would please, guys. And feel free to contact them outside of the Zoom. And I know that I'm very sure that they would be more than happy to help you with your personal requests. So I hope that this is really reaching and touching somebody. And I love what you shared, Sam. You're like me, we're very visual. 6-7 years ago, I attended a conference, and we were asked to bring a pillow to the conference. And I thought, a pillowcase. And I'm like, what am I doing with a pillowcase in a conference? And when we got there, the lady asked us what you asked. And this is like a deja vu moment, because I need to do it again. And what she asked us was to draw 5 things that we wanted to achieve over the next. She gave us time. You're not giving us time. You're hardcore. She gave us 3 years. You've given us 1 year, which is okay. So I had a car, I had a house, I had a business. And I want to say, guys, we've been given a year to do this, and I hope we do take up the challenge, okay? It's doable. I got the house, I got the car, I got the first business, and God has blessed us, with Saffron again. So all I can say is, whatever you receive today, take it away from here and do something. But most importantly, share what you learned today, so that it is not just you that receives the blessing. Share it, because there are people out there that need this. So Sam and Primrose, thank you so much. And please, guys, as always, it's an open house. Facebook people, thank you. And Kamara, Emmanuel, we put your questions in the chat. Thank you for always supporting us from Facebook. Please feel free to ask your questions through the Zoom, okay? And Sam, we're gonna let you come on. What I'm gonna ask is, for the debt one, can you please not come back next week and share it? you know you want to come back. So Sam's going to be back next week. He's going to clear his diary for Saffron. He's just going to wipe his diary for Saffron.
All right. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Primrose has to go. So if there are questions, please still put it in the chat and we can always get those questions over to Primrose. In the meantime, we still have Sam. But before you go, Primrose, we just ask you to unmute. And we want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts on behalf of the whole of Saffron. We are honored to have you. Thank you for the amazing information that you've been able to bring out. And we hope you will be able to continue with us through our Financial February program. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, please. We will look forward to seeing you next week. I understand you've got to go for another engagement. So
my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for hosting me.
That's okay.
Thank you, Primrose.
Thank you, Primrose. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So please, if you have questions, Sam is here. You heard his story. You heard his journey. This is doable. So please don't be shy. Throw out any question that you want.
I think if I have to say anything, the most important part and the first part of this is getting the CCMP right.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you know where you're going? How do you know you're there if you didn't know where you were going in the first place?
Sure.
You've got to have it written down. It's just, you've got to.
Okay.
All the people who do, only 5% of people, and I'll share that another time, only 5% of people are either financially independent or wealthy at 68. Only 5 out of 100.
Yeah.
Those 5, they have their goals all set up, all written out. You have to. But not just, sorry, go on.
Sorry to interrupt you.
That's cool.
In this real world with what is happening now, I love the CCMP. It sounds really amazing. And you talked about, to have the burning desire, to have a strategy, and to use the SMART model. Now, there will be people at home sitting, listening to this now, who have just lost their jobs or who are on furlough, and they are in debt. And we've just talked about a year from now, where you want to be. For those people who are going through what I've just said, who have no jobs, or they're in the jobs that they are in now, obviously incomes are being cut as well because of the pandemic. What advice would you give to them to be able to achieve this plan that you set up? The first CCMP that we did.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Like I said, when I came on board, my first CCMP was to be debt-free.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I used to do back in those days, I used to bury my head. Okay? When the bills came, I would rip them up, I'll just chuck them. All right? My wife, she lived in 3 countries. She went to university. She didn't have any debt. She married me and she took on all my debts. And because I just didn't understand money. Do not bury your head in the sand. Okay. If there's any bills, if there's any debt that you have, the first thing you need to do is to accept that they're real, because the decisions you make now could affect your finances for many, many years to come. They're so quick to give you a CCJ like that. And then that means you can't get a mortgage. Or if you do, you're going to be paying 7% interest rate. So it's really important that you do not hide. You need to accept that the debts are there, okay? Nobody's going to judge you because we've all been there. I've been there. I know exactly where you're at. The second thing is to get help. Now, there are organizations out there, okay? There's Citizens Advice, okay? There's organizations, our company, and I'm not here to promote my company, but what we do, we give you a plan. And the plan basically says, this is where you are. This is where you want to go. So when I did my plan in 2010, John, when he sat down with me, my wife and I, he went through our plan. My plan said, this was where I was. If I kept on doing what I was doing, where I was paying the minimum, I was going to be debt-free in 29 years. That was what my plan showed me. I've done plans for people. It says there was a lady I did a plan for. She owed £5,000. When I put that in the system, it said she was going to be debt-free in 100 years.
Oh.
It was going to take her 100 years to pay off £5,000. Okay, and we'll cover that when we talk some other time. But when John gave me my plan, I was going to be debt-free in 29 years. The plan showed me if I made 1 or 2 changes, I could be debt-free in 9 years. And then guess what? I followed exactly what he told me. I actually printed out the plan and I put it up on my wall. Like I said, I'm visual, okay? I did what he told me to do and I did a bit extra. And I was done in 5. It's a great place to be. So if you feel like you have this debt, do what I just told you to do. Your debts, your income, your expenses, whatever the last one is, your savings.
Savings.
Do it, put it up on your wall. That is the first step. And then get some help to clear or to give you a plan. A plan is a great thing to have. Okay, that's why I will encourage you to do. 1, accept that you've got this debt, because we all do.
Yeah.
Each and every one of us. If anybody tells you they haven't got any debt, then they've probably not done anything in their lives. Okay, welcome to the world.
Yeah.
But the key is not to bury your head. The key is to step up, do what you got to do, get rid of it, have a plan, put a plan in place. When it comes to the income, again, we've discussed multiple streams of income. What's this guy's name? Richard Branson, all those guys there. Somebody said the average millionaire has 7 streams of income.
Yeah.
The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. A lot of us sit in the one job for 40 years and then they give us a nice gold watch at the end of it and say, thank you very much. That's even if you get a gold watch. Okay. You need to find, even the Bible. I mean, I'm sorry, I quote the Bible all the time. Forgive me if you're not, that's not your disposition. But even the Bible says it. You cannot rely on just one source of income. You need to find other ways. Okay? You need to do other things. So there's lots of opportunities out there. There's lots of businesses out there. When I came on board of this business that I do, I was looking at 2 different businesses. And I studied both of them, and I decided this one could help me become debt-free. And I was passionate. I'm a church pastor. I was a group scout leader. I was working 2 jobs, and I was a driving instructor. I was doing so many things. This one was really good because I could dip in and dip out as I wanted. I was helping myself, but I was also helping other people with their finances. So again, I'm more than happy to chat to anybody that wants to find out more, but don't sit down and not do anything. I would encourage you to put the word out. Tell people, go on LinkedIn and put it there. I'm looking for work. I'm looking for an opportunity. If you haven't got a LinkedIn account, it takes you 5 minutes to set one up. Yeah, but do not sit down and wait for the government to feed you. You've got to do something, especially if you've got a family. Your children are looking at you. So that's it. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I need to say about that, guys.
No, I think you've covered it. I think I was focusing on the low income, the people who are losing jobs in the pandemic. But you've given us a solution. If you know how to plait hair.
Yeah. If you can teach music.
Yeah, where I'm living, I've got to travel a very long way away just to get my hair done. So you can imagine if somebody could plait hair perfectly near where I live, it's an income. It's an
I mean, with social media, you can put something. I put it on my WhatsApp status all the time.
Sure.
Go to my WhatsApp status. I've always got comments in there.
Sure.
And I'm looking for people. So why not put something on your WhatsApp status? I plait hair. I can teach the sax. I can teach the guitar. I can drive. If anybody needs picking up something, just put it out there so people know. If you don't put it out, people don't know. So how can you earn if you're not reaching out to people?
Network.
You've got to, you know, somebody said, poor people work for a living, rich people network for a living. You're on this call, you've got a network in this group.
Yeah.
Use the group. Get them to share whatever it is you want to share that you can do hair, or that you can, sorry, I can't say my H's, so my children make fun of me all the time. You can, you know, you can plait hair, you can, all sorts, you can, there's so many opportunities out there.
Yeah.
It's just looking for it and using your network.
Yeah.
Very important.
Thank you for that, Sam. I really hope that, you know, we are getting through to somebody out there. You're hearing it from the professional. Use the network, you know, leverage off of the group of people. And you are all, I'm sure all of us are in other groups as well. And I would like to say to our community as well, let's not be the community that pushes things away. Somebody comes to you with an opportunity and you say, oh, that doesn't work. And you've not even tried it. You don't understand it, you know. Awareness is key. And I've always been told to, before I dismiss something, I should understand it. I may understand it and find it's not for me, but never ever dismiss, because you don't know whether you are removing an opportunity of a lifetime. Okay. So yeah, I think I've got, do we have any other questions on Facebook? I don't think we do. And if not, if there are anybody is there anybody here that has a direct question regarding finances, not necessarily your own, but regarding finances that you would like Sam to answer? No, because if not, I have loads. Believe you me, I have loads. Okay, I don't know, and I'm just asking for somebody. Somebody's asked about drop shipping and how does it work?
I don't have a clue what that is. You
don't have a clue. Okay, no. That's fine. It's not a problem. This week we do have somebody that is coming on in one of the weeks who will be talking about drop shipping, which is it's quite huge now. Okay, and I've got another one about how do I start trading? I think trading is another big one. How do I start trading?
Yes, again, education, knowledge. There's a lot of organizations out there. What's your experience? How much money have you got? Are you investing right now? Or is it going to be something completely new? Right. Now, I know people who've experienced both. They've lost money and some people have got money. I think it's really important, if you're going to trade, educate yourself. Sure. Get with somebody who's an expert, see what they do, see their pay slip, see what they're earning. Make sure you see an expert. I am not an expert when it comes to trading. I can't help you. But it's a very it's a slippery slope if you don't know your stuff. So it's really important that you get it. Again, I'm just passing out knowledge.
No, that's right.
I love to empower people. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for your honesty. And Taiwo, you have a question? You want to unmute? Go ahead, Taiwo.
I was more, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, hi. I was more sort of just wanting to make a quick contribution, partly to answer that question on trading,
right?
Because that's something I've done, and it's related to my most recent studies. And the other contribution was there was a book mentioned earlier, Samuel, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is very popular. But anytime that book is mentioned, I mean, to be honest with you, I got the book, I flipped through, but there's another book which I always like to mention in the same breath. So I want to do that first before I answer the trading question. The book is called, I don't get royalties or anything. The book is called The Millionaire Mind by Thomas Stanley. You know, that book, I have been talking about that book now for, I think, about 16 years now. And I've given away copies, because what would happen is I would have a copy, I'd talk about the book, I'd then, you know, save the person trouble, give it away, and the book will never come back. So I actually don't even have a copy now as a result. But that book is one that I feel even the title doesn't do justice on that book, because it sounds like 36 steps to a million. It's not that. It's about the mindset. On the issue of trading quickly, I just want to reinforce what Sam said, that you need to learn. And I tell you, a lot of people, I meet people all the time, trade this, trade that. If you're in the UK, especially, the knowledge that is available in the UK to truly understand what you need to know to trade is extremely limited. So I had my first experience trading when I was in the States, and the things I did were, anyway, I'll spare you the details, but the systems of these two countries, sometimes the economic systems of the country in which you live can determine what knowledge is accessible or not. So I just want to say that, if anyone, to the person that asked that question, you need to learn. You can come and ask me questions if you want, and I can make some recommendations as far as learning before you start dipping your feet in the water. And when you want to start dipping your feet in the water, start with what they call paper money, that is fake money that is electronic but not tied to your personal bank account. Okay, so I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you.
Just a quick one. That when it comes to reading, I do think, leaders are readers. If you do need to read, if you've not, I read a book almost every month. I read a book with my team. How to Win Friends and Influence People is one of my favorite books ever. I would encourage you to read that. I give electronic books. If you want any, let me know. I can hook you up. But it's really important that you read, people's stories, people's examples. Think and Grow Rich is another fantastic book, Andrew Carnegie. I'd encourage you to, just get into it, man. It's absolutely brilliant. Like I said, Rich Dad Poor Dad got me onto this in 2009, and I've not looked back. It's been absolutely awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Taiwo, and thank you, yes, and Sam. So, like we said, it's not financial advice we're giving out today, but we are doing a lot of financial education, just to raise awareness. So if there is anything you would like to know about insurance, I know our insurance lady has gone, but you feel free to type it in the chat. Primrose will be back next week, Wednesday, so your questions will be able to get to Primrose on time. Yeah?
I mean, part of what we do, we provide insurance as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has on the subject.
That's amazing. Okay.
We cover the whole of every financial services that you can think of. We kind of cover them.
Okay.
So happy to answer any questions.
Okay. What I would like for you to answer in this era now, where I think what this pandemic has shown people is that the 9-to-5 job is amazing. But on the other hand, too, we need to start thinking, it's not about thinking outside the box anymore. It's just like throw the box away and just start thinking. Now, in that realm, you're talking about working from home, which means becoming self-employed. How then do we protect ourselves as individuals, as families? Because when you're working self-employed, you do step out of the comfort zone of being under the umbrella of a big organization or a company. So are you able to shed any light?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to 9-to-5, I was a 9-to-5 person for many, many years. What I say to people is your 9-to-5 pays your mortgage, pays your rent. Your extra income builds you a fortune, okay? And what you need to do is continue chipping away at it. And I can talk because, again, personal experience, there will come a time whereby you can reduce the hours at your 9 to 5. Okay, so I reduced mine. I only went to work on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so I had a long weekend. I did that for 6 months. Then I thought, I can hand in my notice now. And I handed in my notice, did my 3 months notice, and I was gone. So for me, I did it for 6 years where I was part-time. For some people, they do it for a year.
Yeah.
You know, for some people it's 10. I know people who've done it for 10 years. So there's no rush. As long as you're building gradually and you're building and you're chipping away at it and it works. When it comes to protection, for me, and I will talk about that because some of the things I'm going to be sharing when it comes to being self-employed, it's important that you put money away. We teach something called 10-10-10-70, and I'll share that when I share over the next couple of weeks. Income protection is very important. Right now, I am self-employed. If anything were to happen, there's no money. Well, actually, there is money coming in, but however, I still need, that's when we talk about residual income. You know, what Warren Buffett said, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work for other people the rest of your life. So one of the things you can try to do is find an opportunity where you can make money while you sleep, so that even if you were sick, the income will still be coming in. I'm thankful to God that I'm kind of at that position now, whereby the income will still be coming in, even if I wasn't working. But I've also got protection. In case I can't work, my family will still be able to eat and there'll be money coming in. So those are the two things. I mean, I don't know if I answered the question. Income protection, very important, but then a residual income that can build slowly so that when you're not physically working, there's still some income coming in. I think it's really important to look at that, but I don't want to overwhelm anybody, okay? Do not be overwhelmed. If this is your first time of hearing things like this, the journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first one.
Yes.
Slowly but surely, keep chipping away at this. Stick to your plan. It will happen, but you've got to move. Action is very important. I don't know if that answers the question, if it helps.
Yes, that does help, because obviously people will be looking to think, right, so I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to step away from my 9 to 5, but then I'm out there, you know, in the murky waters. How am I protected? You rightly said income protection, which is a big one, and residual income. So something coming in, even if you're not actively in work at a particular point in your life. So that does answer the question.
I mean, anybody can do something on the side. You know, I say to people, stop watching Dead Enders and Coronary Street. You know, the time is there. It's there. You just need to find it and make it work.
It's true.
Even if it's 2 hours a week, just chip away at it. Keep chipping away at it. And then you find it. What you find is it starts growing and you'll have more time. As you increase your skill level goes up, your income potential goes up, and then you find yourself not needing the 9 to 5 anymore. Yeah. And you decide your time at that point.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. And I think, you know, with everything you said, consistency is obviously the name of the game. If you, I watch a lot of videos and I go to a lot of conferences and workshops, and I keep hearing over and over again, you know, somebody said, I can't remember who it was now. I think it was when I was doing I used to be part of a shakes company, and he's quite a top guy in Atlanta. He was a director, and what he said is, if you don't know, watch somebody who has made a success at something and copy them, and just keep copying them and keep copying and keep copying, and with time you make it your own. So,
that is something I said to my team. I say, if you want to be good at something, find an expert and do exactly what they tell you to do.
That is
and
it.
I say that to a lot of people all the time. Find an expert, do exactly what they tell you to do.
It works.
Yes,
really works. I can say that because I mean, I work very closely with Yemi, who is obviously our CEO, And there is nobody that you will meet that can whip up, especially in safeguarding, in 5 minutes. She does it in, you just have, you know, and I've sat with her and now I've become something I couldn't do. I can now do it perfectly just from watching her, copying her. And I'm still a work in progress. But the point I'm trying to make here is this is not somebody like Warren Buffett or Elon Musk. This is somebody who is very in my community. So you don't have to, the point I'm trying to make here is I don't want people to think you've got to go and look for some massive top shot. There are people within your local community who are succeeding, who are excelling at something. And I think the best thing to do would be to get hold of them, grab them, copy them, and become very good at copying, and then make it your own. So that's just what
I think the challenge is we go to school, and I know some of us left school maybe a lot longer than others. We're not going to go there right now. But we go to school and they tell you don't copy. You know, focus on your work. Even sometimes close it and write it down like that. You know, you left school a long time ago.
Sure.
You can copy. Please feel free to copy. You're going to make money.
Sure.
Copy. You're going to build a legacy for your family. You know, for me, I'm copying because I want to create generational wealth.
That's it.
You know, so I'm happy to copy, and I've got a few mentors in my business that I copy, and I sit at their feet on a weekly basis, getting input from them.
Brilliant.
So I encourage you, copy. Please go for it.
You just mentioned a golden word. You just said something now, and I need to pull it back. I'm so sorry. Right. Generational wealth. Oh my days.
We sing it all the time.
Oh wow.
That is our, I don't like the word buzzword, but that word for me, it's everything. Now, this morning, something happened in my little world, and we were talking about inheritance, you know, and it came to me, and I was having a discussion, and I said, listen, our community, we are not setting up our children for the future. You know, I think if anything, we are moving them backwards because they're all reliant on, you know, waiting for dad to pass on. I'm going to take my dad this or my dad. So can you please talk to us briefly about generational wealth? And then next week we can extend it. Go, Yemi, did you want to say something?
Yes, sorry. I just wanted to chip in before you did. Is also the fact that like Giz said, there's some children, they're waiting for their parents to pass on. But right, it's come back. The prodigal son. I don't know, I'm sorry about the Bible, but if you know the story of the prodigal son, quickly, he asked for his money and he asked for his inheritance, took it away. The sad thing is he squandered it and then he came back. However, I don't see that he did a wrong thing. And I believe that that's what we need to be doing is setting up our children to have their inheritance now, work them into their inheritance so that they start to then grow even before the older parents are ready to leave the stage. So it's lay up the nest egg for them and let them start using it, teach them to grow in it, as opposed to leaving something for them and you do not know if they squander it even in the first 2 months. That's my thought on that.
Thank you. I think when I think about generational wealth, the one question I like to ask people is this: how many of you know the name of your great grandfather? If you do, one person. Anybody else? Okay. Now, if your great grandfather had left you £1 million, would you know his name?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that answers your question. If my great grandfather left me £1 million, all my children will be named after him. Yeah, I'll have a picture of him in my front room every morning when I come out. Good evening, Grandpa. Yeah, for me, right, I think it's so important. I still look after my mom. I still look after my dad. I don't want my children to look after me. They're born here. They're probably going to live their own lives. And one of the things that I'm teaching my children, like my son, my 16-year-old now, a few years ago, he saw his bank statement. And he was like, whoa, Dad, my birthday is coming up. Can I spend half of it on something he wanted to buy? And I said, yeah, sure, you can. We can go and take it out today. I said, but let me give you another option. You can either take that money out now, or when you go to university, I buy you a house, we put a deposit on a house with 4 bedrooms, you rent it out to 3 other people, and you're collecting £600-700 from each of them every month. Which one would you prefer? It's like, okay, Dad, keep the money, I don't want it. You get me? And for me, that is creating generational wealth.
Yes.
That is, I want to break the chains of poverty, because my dad didn't have, his dad didn't have, they didn't give me anything. Now I had to start from -0. And when I sit down with families, I've helped hundreds and thousands of families from across the board. And it's amazing when I sit with Caucasians, okay? When I sit with majority Caucasians, a lot of them will be mortgage free by the time they're 55, 60. And the reason for that is because their parents gave them 10, 15, 20,000 pound deposit on the house. How many of us can claim to do that? Not a lot of us. Okay. Another thing is, a lot of them will have benefited from a life insurance claim where their grandfather passed away. They claimed 200,000 pounds and they split it up within the children. Okay. Those are the things that we don't do.
Yeah.
And those are the things you can do to create. When I live here, I'm moving to the Caribbean. We're putting something there. And that I want to retire by the time I'm 55. Okay, I don't want to have to work when I'm 55. I probably will, because I don't want to sit around doing nothing. But my sons know they're going to take over my business. Okay, and I know they're not going to be in the same place I am now, which is why I sent them to the best school I can find. I want them to have a better life. We were poor. We had a tough life. I don't want them to go through that. So I want them, and they go to all these, they've got friends, they go to their friend's house, and their friends have swimming pools, and they have a tennis court, and they're like, wow, Dad. I'm like, that's what I want for you. But if not for you, for your children, because I expect you to be better than I am. And I expect your children, and they know this. They know this. I want your children to have the same thing. But something else we don't talk about is the trust. Okay, we don't talk about trust. They say Prince Charles is still spending the money from King Henry VIII. They've not even touched money after that because they've got a trust. And what the trust does, the trust locks your money in your bloodline. And it gets renewed every 125 years. So your money stays in your bloodline, okay? If you pass your house to your son or your daughter, and God forbid they break up with a partner 10 years from now, they would have to split that house in 2. If you have a trust, they can't touch it. It stays in your bloodline. That's just something, that's just a little thing. How many of you have a trust? 1. Very important. A trust is massive. A trust is one thing that locks and creates generational wealth, because your wealth will go down to your children and their children. And the scripture talks about it. Leave an inheritance for your children's children. I'm not looking at my boys right now or my daughter. I'm looking at their children. I want them to remember my name 5 generations from now, knowing that we broke that chain now, or else they'll be in the same situation 20 years from now. I don't know if that helps.
Yep, that totally
Okay.
does help. Thank you so much, because it's something that I think a lot of people with this pandemic now, you know, everybody's looking at, okay, how long is this going to last, and where will we be in 5, 10, 15 years time? And what we've talked about now, generational wealth, is it's huge. And the trust that you just mentioned, it's something that, I mean, this is the first time I've actually heard of it.
A will and trust.
Okay,
You need to have a will and a trust.
Yes, well, I know about the wills, but I didn't realize that the trust was so, you know, things that I kind of associated with just the monarch, and I didn't realize that we could also have. So that's very interesting. And
can I just make one point on that? One point on that. Just, I love this. It's like when most of us here pass away, we would have to pay 40% inheritance tax. 40%. And your family have to find that money before they can take your wealth. When Margaret Thatcher died, she had an estate of over £8 million. Do you know how much inheritance tax the family paid? 0.
There was a trust.
Because they had a trust.
Yeah.
When you pass away, your family pay 40%. When they pass away, they pay zilch.
0. Okay.
That's what the trust does.
Yeah.
Is you've got to know, you know, it's about knowledge and education and just understanding the game. Money is a game. You've got to play the game. That's why they stay wealthy and we generally don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Yes, Taiwo, I'm going to ask you to quickly, a few minutes. I've asked you to unmute.
I have.
Okay,
I think I have.
Yes,
oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, well, one point to that, partly because, well, I don't have living parents any longer. And so I've been through certain processes with my siblings. The key thing with the inheritance, and you probably know this, Samuel, is that if, you know, someone reaches a certain age where they put their, say, property or other assets in the estate in the names of their children, if that person then lives at least 7 years or longer, then the HMRC will not, the family will not be liable for inheritance tax. But the trust is a more assured way of being effective. I don't want to say avoiding because it sounds like tax avoidance, but being effective at managing the family wealth. Then just I was just going to say, you know, sessions like this are very important, and you can't have them too often or too many of them. I don't know if I've shared that part of my experience in this group where I was a financial advisor advising expatriates abroad on one of my spells working abroad. But I remember I came home and was trying to share a lot of these things with my dad. But you know, a prophet has no honor in his own home. So my dad will not buy the advice of me. So and of course what happened eventually, and it came to pass as the laws ensure that it comes to pass. So it's very important that also when you want the, I mean, that's why having professionals like Samuel is good, because at least he's neutral. You know,
I mean, it's interesting when you mentioned the older people.
Yes.
100,000 homes are taken from old people every year to pay their nursing fees. 100,000 homes, maybe more now. So these people have worked for 40 years. They've paid off their mortgage, and the local government takes the house from them, sells it, and puts them in a home. 100,000. This was a few years ago, so the numbers are probably higher now. They could have prevented that by having a trust.
Yeah.
The government couldn't touch it then.
Yes.
100,000,
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah, and obviously, this is not something to do with the African community. So I think I've shared within this group that I wrote my MP when I moved up here. By the way, Samuel, I'm up north, just like you are. So
Okay.
So I'll send you a message to let you know my precise coordinates. I don't want to put it in the public domain.
That's
But
cool.
but I have been in communication with. I'm very passionate about financial education, and to the point whereby I even contacted my MP about this, and she had some discussions with her parliamentary colleagues. She understands the drive and the need, and in certain areas of our society, there has been the recognition that this is very important for everybody, really. So perhaps we need to continue to drive financial education as an agenda on its own, for us and future generations. So I'll stop there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Tai. Well, we have Adeyinka. Adeyinka is actually in from Nigeria. And Sam, he just asked if you could briefly go over I think it was when you were talking about the generational income. He didn't get it. So what I'm going to do, for the sake of...
Adeyinka is a female.
Oh, is it a female? I'm sorry, Adeyinka, please forgive me.
Is it the trust?
Sorry, Adeyinka, I think you tried
to... let her speak.
I'm a girl, I'm not a boy.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
it's
sorry.
All right.
Go ahead, my dear. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to understand the bit about the trust.
Right.
Okay.
And the difference between the trust and the just leaving an inheritance in a will, kind of.
Okay. I mean,
the last point he made. Pardon?
Yes. So the thing about the trust is, a trust is set up by an organization like a law firm. And what it basically does is, let's say you've got children. When you have a house, you put it in a trust. The house is yours. Even when you pass away, your children can live in the house. They can't sell it because it's yours. Okay. Now, if they were to get a divorce, normally they will have to split the house. But because it's not your child's property, it belongs to you, even though you've been dead for 50 years, it will happen. Yeah, I know we don't like to talk about it. It still stays in your bloodline. Okay. So when your son leaves, he passes on to his children. That's what the trust is. And it gets renewed every 125 years. Wow. But what happens is, because the house is because the house is in a trust, you do not have to pay inheritance tax. It's avoided. But that is another, wills and trust is something else for probably some other session. Yeah. We can go into it, maybe another session sometime in the future, where we can talk about the will and the trust and how it works and how it happens. Okay. But it protects your bloodline, basically. That's what the trust does.
Thank you so much. I hope that was okay for you, Adeyinka.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you. Okay, and I just want to recognize a few people that have joined us this evening. Jacqueline is in the house, and Jacqueline is one of us all the way from Nigeria. Jacqueline, good evening.
Good evening.
All the way from Kaduna. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you? Thank you for coming on tonight.
Fine. I've been listening and learning.
Awesome. And we also have mine and Yemi's mentor, Auntie Amma. Good evening, Auntie Amma. Thank you for coming on as always. I know she's on. And thank you, Lily, for coming on. Sandra, thank you because you've been on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Auntie Amma. Good evening.
Good evening.
And we
Good evening.
Hi, Lily. Hi, Lily. How are you?
Hi.
Good evening.
I'm good. Good topic today.
Awesome. We'll be doing it throughout February. So please feel free to come on next week, Wednesday. So Marcia, as always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Marcia. And Nikita, thank you. Buki, thank you. Ollie, I know you just come in and I know it's because of work, but thank you for even jumping
Thank you,
on.
Mama.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So as we said, we will still be continuing. Teresa Dashi, thank you so much. I see you've been on. Guys, when you don't put your cameras on, you could morph into a man, even though you're a woman. So please, guys, have your cameras on, or at least let me know, because especially when it's names that I'm not very conversant with. I can call Obi Janet and Janet Obi. So thank you so much, everybody. This has been an amazing session. It's been mind-blowing. Let's go away and think about we've got some homework to do, haven't we, Sam?
Yes, your CCMP.
Our CCMP.
Putting it up on the wall, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so remember your CCMPs. Sam will be back next week to make sure that we've done our homework. So let's do it. But, let's seriously think about, where we want to be, in a couple of years. It could be 1 year. Don't put pressure. But, it's nice. I work very well under pressure. So if Sam's giving us 1 year, let's try and achieve that. You understand? Thank you to our Facebook family. Nkemara, Emmanuel, you've been very active tonight, as always. And to everybody else on Facebook Live, thank you. And I hope this was a very, very informative session for you guys.
Okay.
We will be back again next week, same time. And I know Sam will be in the house because he's clearing his
In case we have somebody to invite to listen.
Yes.
Can we?
Yes, Sandra.
I need to jump off. I've got an 8 o'clock meeting.
Okay, Sam. We will see you next week, Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the invites. Really appreciate it. Marcia, awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sam. Stay blessed.
Sandra, just to answer your question, Sandra, if you have anybody you wish to invite, please feel free. We will send you the link. If you could type in the chat now, your email address, Sandra, if you can just type it in the chat. And we've also put our WhatsApp group in the chat. So please, people, feel free to join our WhatsApp group because a lot of information on all our programs are shared.
Ngozi, can you send me Sandra's email, please?
I will definitely do that. I will definitely.
Okay, thank you. And let me talk to you after this program.
Use Akaza Ramia email.
Okay, okay, no problem. So Sandra, you pop your digits for us, your email in the chat, and we will get back to you. So on behalf of SaffronSACAP, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has joined this session tonight. This is 2 minutes after 8 o'clock, so we are 2 minutes over time. So I'm going to say a good night. Please stay safe, and we will see you next week, Wednesday. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Lily.
Glad to be here.
Really
Talk to you
glad to be here.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Sorry,
Bye.
Next week.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ollie.
I literally just walked in.
I saw you put the lights on.
I know.
Don't worry. Wednesday, we're back again next
Wednesday.
Is it recorded?
Yes. We will
Watch
send
it
you
back.
the recording.
On YouTube as well.
And it's on YouTube.
I will try and catch up. Yeah.
No problems.
Thank you.